welcome to this edition of the Evening News for today, Thursday, January 27, 2022. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Guyana aiming to become global leader in environment and agriculture, says President Ali. Guyana to earn US $957.6 million from oil sector this year. Pregnant woman stabbed to death by ex-boyfriend. Second phase of STEM robotics program launched for children with disabilities. And woman arrested over 912 grams of marijuana. Now for the news in detail. Guyana's President, Dr. Irfan Ali, has said the country is currently working on an international agenda by which it would be propelled to become a global leader in several areas, particularly environment and agriculture. Rupa Sinarain reports.
The Guyanese head of state delivered the feature address at India's 72nd Republic Day anniversary reception at the National Cultural Center on Wednesday evening. President Dr. Irfan Ali said the country would look to emulate India on its leadership qualities, especially through Guyana's expanded low-carbon development strategy and its current international commitments on environmental management. Guyana, the president noted, is already taken on the mantle of providing strong leadership in the CARICOM region.
Like India, Guyana today working on an international agenda. We are not working to be second to any, but we are working to lead in many areas, including environmental leadership. With our expanded low-carbon development strategy, and our international stance and commitment to sustainable development, we intend to continue to provide strong global leadership in the area of environmental management. Guyana is already taking on the mantle of providing strong leadership in the region to ensure food security and sustainability, not only for Guyana, but for the region as a whole.
Additionally, President Ali pointed out that Guyana is already following India's initiatives on energy security.
Like India, we are also working on a program to ensure energy security using renewables and, more importantly, making energy affordable for all the people of our country. Like India, we are working hard every day to strengthen our bilateral relationship, enhance our democracy, and fortify our laws to ensure it reflects the needs and will of the people.
The president added that cooperation between the two countries continued to grow. Through India's support for Guyana's transportation sector, the construction of a ferry to provide services to the northwest, a line of credit to support the electrification of 30,000 households via solar power, and the provision of drainage pumps to assist in combating the negative effects of climate change have been initiated. Rupa Sinarain, The Evening News.
Guyana is slated to earn a whopping US $957.6 million from the oil and gas sector this year as government gears up to tap into the Natural Resources Fund, $126.7 billion of which it has used to finance the massive $552.9 billion budget 2022. In this report, you will hear that the use of the oil money was necessary to lay the foundation for the country's transformational development. Let's have a look.
With 2 FPSO vessels expected to be in operation this year, it is anticipated that there will be 94 lifts. It is anticipated that there will be 94 lifts from the Stabroek block, 13 of which will be government lifts. From this, it is estimated that deposits into the NRF for 2022 will total $957.6 million, comprising some $857.1 million earned from the government lifts of profit oil and an additional $100.5 million from royalties.
That was Finance Minister Dr. Ashley Singh disclosing the projected inflows from the oil and gas sector for this year during Wednesday's presentation of the $552.9 billion 2022 budget. According to Dr. Singh, since oil production commenced in December 2019, Guyana has earned US $607.6 million from its share of 9 oil lifts and from royalty payments. Government has since injected the entire $126.7 billion from the oil fund into Budget 2022 to ensure the accelerated development agenda, critical investments, and the various measures are financed without excessive borrowing or the introduction of any new taxes.
Budget 2022 is the first budget ever to benefit from withdrawals from the Natural Resource Fund following the historic passage of the NRF Act last December. This act, as I mentioned earlier today, addressed the most offensive deficiencies of the predecessor NRF Act. Pursuant to the provisions of the newly enhanced legal framework set out in the new NRF Act, Budget 2022 projects a withdrawal from the NRF and transfer to the Consolidated Fund of $126.7 billion Guyana dollars. That corresponds with the closing balance on the fund as stipulated by Schedule 1 to the new NRF Act.
Meanwhile, Attorney General and Legal Affairs Minister Anil Nandlal defended the use of the oil money to lay the foundation for the massive transformation Guyana is undergoing.
We are spending in this budget every single cent that would be withdrawn from that fund and much more. What that means is that every single cent of that money has to pass through the Parliament, through the appropriation process. It has to be interrogated and investigated in the Committee of Supply. The public will see. The opposition will be able to investigate, to interrogate, to question, to probe. So the allegation that there is going to be corruption and there is going to be thievery ought to now be rendered hollow and should dissipate. What use are we making of the oil money? We have been criticized that we will waste it, we will steal it, we will spend it on unproductive projects. Well, you heard 6 hours of a budget that embraces every facet of life in Guyana. Every area of human endeavor has been touched by this budget.
On the other hand, Opposition Member of Parliament and Deputy Speaker Lennox Schumann asserted that with Budget 2022, this year will mark the transformational ascent of Guyana.
I am very grateful. I'd say that we have a natural resource called oil, that the revenues are being untethered and being used for national development. And I think it is important that the NRF bill had gone through. And I don't think we would have seen the kind of projected development for the country had we constrained the government with the NRF bill. I also look at the reality of how the local content law has now become operational. And I strongly believe that Guyana's trajectory is going to tremendously change going forward.
Reporting for the Evening News, Fanny Manekchand.
Construction of the Amila Falls hydropower project will start this year as government continues to ramp up spending on renewable energy projects as well as upgrades to the Guyana power and light infrastructure. Amar Prasad reports.
In his budget speech on Wednesday, Senior Minister with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashley Singh, said the government has allocated a total of $29.4 billion to the energy sector in 2022. He spoke of the impending construction of the Amila Falls hydropower project, which will begin this year and expected to finish construction in 2027.
We have requested, received, and evaluated proposals for this project. Negotiations are already underway with the highest ranked company, which is an experienced international company. The project will be developed under a build, own, operate, transfer arrangement, within which the Guyana Power and Light, Inc., GPL, will purchase power from the operator under a power purchase agreement. The Mr. Speaker, in relation to this project, we anticipate construction will also begin in 2022. Once operationalized, this facility and the power plant at Wales will dramatically reduce the cost of energy for both businesses and households.
Another energy-related project is the Gas to Shore project, which the minister wants the government to phase out the use of expensive and carbon-intensive heavy fuel oil and is targeted to reduce costs substantially.
This project encompasses the establishment of a power plant at the Wales Development Authority to generate 300 megawatts of power, as well as a natural gas liquids plant that will cover domestic demand. This project also entails the construction of a 225-kilometer 12-inch pipeline to transport the gas from offshore Guyana to Wales. Ongoing geotechnical and geophysical works for both offshore and onshore operations are advancing, with some portions already completed. An environmental and social impact assessment is expected to be completed by early second quarter 2022. Utilizing a transparent procurement process, it is expected that the firm selected would be able to engineer, procure, and construct the power plant and the natural gas liquids plant, along with related facilities. Mr. Speaker, construction is expected to commence in the third quarter of 2022 and will be completed by the fourth quarter of 2024.
Work is also advancing on smaller renewable energy sources, such as the construction of the 1.5 megawatt hydropower plant at Kumu and the rehabilitation and upgrade to the 700 kilowatt capacity of the defunct Mokomoko hydropower plant in Region 9.
Over $600 million is budgeted in 2022. Additionally, sir, we have budgeted more than $170 million for the completion of the hydropower scheme at Kato and for the 30,000 PV home systems for hinterland and riverine areas. These solar mini-grid and off-grid solutions remain our most viable options to ensure unserved and underserved hinterland regions are energized. Mr. Speaker, $1.1 billion is budgeted for solar farm interventions in 2022. These include completion of the farm at Bartica, 1.5 megawatts, 3/4 megawatt at Wakenham, and 1 megawatt at Letem, my apologies. We will also tender for a 0.6 megawatt farm at Leg 1 and a 0.65 megawatt farm at Madhya later this year.
When it comes to the Guyana Power and Light Incorporated, the minister further explained that the government has already successfully supported the rehabilitation of over 600 km of medium and low voltage distribution network. For the evening news, Amar Prasad.
The new 4-lane fixed-span Demerara River Bridge, which will form an important link between the east and west banks of Demerara and alleviate the traffic woes currently faced on the east bank of Demerara, has received a whopping $21.1 billion allocation from Budget 2022. Here is Amar Prasad again with the details.
According to the minister within the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashney Singh, a total of $76.7 billion was allocated out of the $552.9 billion budget for works that will be done on roads and bridges. This $76.7 billion will be divided into $49.2 billion, which will be spent on roads, and $27.5 billion to be spent on bridges.
Mr. Speaker, with respect to bridges, $21.1 billion is allocated to advance construction of the new fixed 4-lane high-span Demerara River Bridge. Another $946 million has been budgeted to rehabilitate and maintain the existing floating bridge. Additionally, $4.1 billion, a sum of $4.1 billion is allocated for the reconstruction and upgrade of several bridges along the Kurpukari to Letem corridor. That will support the phased construction of the Linden to Letem highway. In addition, sir, another 173.9 million is budgeted for construction and rehabilitation and maintenance of bridges in a number of other areas.
The construction of the new Demerara River Bridge is slated to start in the fourth quarter of 2022 and is expected to be finished within 2 years. As it relates to big road projects, $2.3 billion has been set aside for the East Bank East Coast Demerara Road linkage between Ogle and Eccles, while a further $1.1 billion is budgeted to complete the Sheriff to Mandela Road Network and Expansion project.
In relation to roads, key allocations include provisions of $8.3 billion for the rehabilitation of the Currentine Main Road from Palmyra to Crabwood Creek, $6 billion for the construction of the Linden to Mabura Rohill Road, $3.4 billion for hinterland roads.
Meanwhile, $2.6 billion has been set aside for the rehabilitation of the entire Suzdijk-Linden Highway, which has been prone to horrific accidents. Additionally, some $15.2 billion is allocated for the construction and rehabilitation of additional urban and community roads. For the Evening News, Amar Prasad.
We now tell you that the $552.9 billion budget 2022 has been lauded as the foundation to not only propel Guyana's transformational development, but also to enhance the lives of its people. This is according to Chairman of the Private Sector Commission, Paul Chung, who sat through the marathon presentation on Wednesday. He told the Evening News afterwards that Budget 2022 is balanced and will benefit both businesses and ordinary Guyanese. Here's more of what he had to say.
Many of the things that adhere to lay the foundation for a developed Guyana. I mean, we're happy with some of the tax measures that are in place, I know, to ease the living conditions for many ordinary Guyanese. I mean, it's a balanced budget. I mean, the health sector, going to be transformed by some of the measures in the budget with, I think, eight new hospitals or refurbished hospitals. So education, I mean, all in all is a very good budget, and it's timely too because, I mean, we're happy that the budget come out early so that the programs can be implemented, and implemented in a timely manner.
What were some of the announcements that you were most pleased with as a representative of the private sector?
Well, things to level the playing field for local businesses so they can be more competitive in the oil and gas sectors, and measures also to assist in retooling. You're right. In terms of the trucks and so on, we're happy that energy price fuel price would be reduced as probably was tomorrow, because I mean that's something that has an impact on every single Guyanese life, not only businesses. So those are good measures, and a lot of the measures going to increase the disposable income for people and businesses. So that would help to grow the whole economy, grow the businesses, and help to create more jobs and a better environment for all Guyanese.
Coming up, 2 more COVID deaths, 408 new infections, and woman arrested over 912 grams of marijuana. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Massey is by your side as we continue the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. In collaboration with OneCart, you can now get your groceries delivered or you can pick up curbside. Call, email, or WhatsApp your order to us. This service is available at both Providence and Turkine locations. Delivery and pickup between 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The fee is based on location. Orders must be paid in cash and placed 24 hours in advance. Special conditions apply. Remember to always protect yourself and those around you by wearing your masks. Also, don't forget to wash your hands and maintain a distance of 6 feet at all times around persons. Massey Stores. Our family.
Planning a cleanup? We can help. Sevon's waste management skip bins can be provided for home renovation projects, yard cleanups, or construction sites. It's simple. Step 1, just pick up the phone and give us a call. Step 2, we deliver the skip bin size of your choice. Step 3, load the skip with all of your junk. And finally, step 4, we take it all away. It's that simple. Bins are also available in various sizes, so there's no job that's too big or too small. Call Sevon's Waste Management today at 218-1450.
Guyana's 2022 International Energy Conference and Expo under the theme Charting a Sustainable Energy Future will be hosted at the Guyana Marriott from the 15th to the 18th of February 2022. Meet and engage leaders from around the world. The conference will feature addresses from His Excellency President Irfan Ali, His Excellency Vice President Bharat Jagdeo, Honorable Prime Minister Mark Phillips, His Excellency Chandrika Prasad Santoki, Honorable Prime Minister Mia Motley, His Excellency Nana Afuko, and other highly esteemed speakers. Charting a Sustainable Energy Future. Guyana's 2022 International Energy Conference and Expo.
Welcome back. You're watching the evening news. 2 unvaccinated men who were infected with the novel coronavirus have died, taking the death toll to 1,156. The latest fatalities are aged 66 and 81, both from Region 4. Meanwhile, the country has recorded 408 new cases of the virus, taking the total positives recorded to date to 58,604. There are 17 persons in the ICU, 173 in institutional isolation, 11,818 in home isolation, and 11 in institutional quarantine. Recovery stand at 45,440. Just over 36,000 persons who were fully immunized from COVID-19 have returned to get their booster shots administered. This is an uptake which can be considered very poor for the country. More in this Rupasinarai report.
Speaking in Thursday's coronavirus briefing was Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony, where he highlighted that 50% of the 36,866 booster shots were recorded in Region 4. Persons have been encouraged to take the booster dose since protection against the disease would wane after months of complete immunization.
I think very poorly because so far there are approximately 36,866 persons who would have received a booster dose, and in Region 4, approximately 18,829 persons would have received a booster dose. That's about 8.8% of the booster doses administered.
When the statistics are dissected further, 6,295 persons received a booster dose in Region 6, 5,354 in Region 3, 1,074 in Region 9, 2,191 in Region 5, 1,552 in Region 2, 664 in Region 1, 221 in Region 8, 338 in Region 7, and 328 in Region 10.
Of the interior regions, Region 9 is doing fairly well, but this is also relatively low because these numbers need to go up quite a lot, because our booster doses, we really need people to come out and get their booster doses.
Dr. Anthony outlined that the ministry is still continuing its efforts to encourage vaccination among the population.
Yeah. And in every region, we do have them. What we are trying to do now is that on the coastline to have fixed vaccination sites that are operational the whole day, so that people would know where they're located and would go there once they need a vaccine. In Region 4, we have a number of these sites on the East Coast, on the East Bank, in Georgetown. Similar things are happening in other regions. The interior, however, presents a different challenge. And that is, while we can have a fixed site, there are several fixed sites, a lot of the population would still not have access. And that's why we have mobile teams that have been going into the villages and doing the vaccinations.
In the adult population, 422,165 persons, or 82.3%, have taken a first dose. Some 60.6% have returned for their second dose. In the 12 to 17 cohort, 22,799, or 31.3%, are fully immunized. Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
Amar Prasad joins us now to report that a pregnant woman was this afternoon stabbed to death by her ex-boyfriend at her home at Seafield Sophia, Greater Georgetown. Find out more in this report.
24-year-old Loretta Simon was this afternoon stabbed to death by her ex-boyfriend who had visited her at her house at Seafield Sophia, Greater Georgetown. While Simon does not formally reside at that location, she stays there with her family from time to time. On the day in question, her ex-boyfriend showed up at her house, where an argument ensued over him being denied access to a toilet. During the argument, the man armed himself with a knife, which he used to stab the woman. According to information reaching this newscast, the suspect had in the past threatened to kill the woman. In fact, this newscast understands that Simon had ended the relationship due to the man's abuse towards her. Even after the relationship ended, he reportedly continued to threaten her. When the Evening News arrived at the scene, no family members were at home. Speaking with this newscast, neighbors explained that they were only made aware of the incident when persons started to scream. When they rushed out to investigate, then they saw the woman lying in a pool of blood by the doorway. At that time, the suspect had already made good his escape. According to neighbors, the woman was said to be pregnant. Investigations are ongoing. For the Evening News, Amar Prasad.
Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa on Tuesday visited the National Agricultural Research and Extension Institute's Naris farm to assess the progress made thus far with the model shade houses that are being constructed as part of President Dr. Irfan Ali's flagship agriculture and innovation entrepreneurship program. Luana McAllister reports.
The construction of the 5 model shade houses is currently ongoing at the Monrepos facility, with the first shade house expected to be completed by Monday, after which those involved in the project will commence planting seedlings for the high-value crops. The program, which forms part of the government's vision for empowering youths while further developing the agricultural sector, was recently launched by President Dr. Irfan Ali. During the visit, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa, who forms part of the Special Advisory Committee set up to guide the program, said that the response to the program thus far is astonishing.
This shade house that we are witnessing here will be complete in another 4 days from now. And by the time that completed, I am hoping that we can immediately start planting these high-value crops, the 3 crops that we have identified: cauliflower, broccoli, and carrots, and that will continue. What I am also looking at that they will give us, because now we are in the process of forming the company, the One Guyana company that was announced by His Excellency the President. And they will be shareholders of the company, but they will also provide us with a list of names, because remember, this project is not only a project for Region 4, it's a project for the entire country.
He added that it shows that once the right programs and incentives are put in place, youths will gravitate and show interest in the agriculture sector. The shade houses being constructed are 5 of the 25 that will be built for the cultivation of 3 high-value crops. These include carrots, broccoli, and cauliflower. Following the launching of the program, several persons have shown interest.
And there are a lot of interest right now, because around at the Ministry of Agriculture, There are a number of young people from various parts of the country, different regions, what have already called and find out. So this here will be, what we are doing here will be replicated in other parts of the country. Also, I haven't made a decision yet. I will work with the young people them to have to get recommendation to know where we will, if we will build all 25 shade houses here or we will move it to different parts of the region. Right? Depends on the geographic spread of the team. But we want everyone to get involved, and as I said, that this here is testimony to the commitment that the President would have made at the convention center. We are here now today in reality that we are delivering on this project, and I'm hoping that this project will become one of the most to develop the agriculture sector by the young people.
For the evening news, Lawanda McAllister.
The Guyana Council of Organizations for Persons with Disabilities STEM Robotics Program Phase 2 for Special Education Needs, which is being sponsored by ExxonMobil Guyana, was on Tuesday launched in New Amsterdam Region 6. Andrew Carmichael has this story.
Chairman of the Board of Industrial Training, David Armagon, believed that a traditional poor performance of students in STEM subjects is so because from a very early age they are taught that science, technology, engineering and mathematics are very difficult. However, he is pleased with efforts being made today to ensure that more participation and interest in these subjects, including among children with disabilities.
The way the world is going today, unless we become professions and we have enough people who are in these fields of science, of the STEM program, then what you will find is that you'll be left back as a nation. And therefore people will have to come from other places to take those jobs that can be available in our country.
He was at the time launching the Guyana Council of Organizations for Persons with Disability GCOPD STEM Robotics Program Phase 2 for Special Education Needs, which is being sponsored by ExxonMobil Guyana on Tuesday in New Amsterdam Region 6. Noting that Guyana is an oil-producing nation, Armagon pointed out that it will require a different level of skills. Armagon, who is also the chairman of Region 6, commended GCOPD for extending the program to the region and showed his appreciation to ExxonMobil Guyana for sponsoring it. He said there is a place in today's world for everyone and no one should be denied to get involved and to create situations in which they will be able to educate themselves and become marketable.
And so what the opportunities that are available to persons who are normal, or what we say living without disabilities, those same opportunities must also be extended to persons who are living with disabilities. They must not be left back.
GCOPD coordinator Ganesh Singh explained that the robotics program started in 2020 and some 65 students with disabilities were involved in that phase. Approximately 180 students with disabilities will be exposed to STEM robotics, environmental awareness, recycling, and other topics in the field of STEM. The program will be extended to children with disabilities in regions 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10, and will be a part of one of 12 clubs. The coordinator explained that a robotic kit will be provided for each participant, and they will also be equipped to participate in virtual classes if the need be. The STEM robotics program will have a club at the Special Needs School in New Amsterdam, and according to Singh, there is likely to be a hive on the quarantine. Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
A 55-year-old woman identified as Deborah Pereira has been arrested after she was caught with marijuana in her possession. The discovery was made when officers of the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit on Wednesday conducted a search operation at Lot 6 Ketley and Drysdale Streets, Charlestown, Georgetown, during which the officers discovered the suspected cannabis. The woman who resided there was escorted to the Canoe headquarters where the narcotics were tested and confirmed to be cannabis, with a total weight of 912 grams. And now for a look at the birth reports.
The Demerara Harbor Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Friday, January 28 at half hours past midnight for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, Suburbies River Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Friday, January 28th at 13 hours for a period of 1.5 hours.
Powell projects West Indies to 2-1 T20 Series lead, and fans enjoying thrilling T20 International Series in Barbados. Details of these stories in the Sportcast, sponsored by Maccorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality, or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Satco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store, located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rheinveld.
Wayne Pressure Pumps out of the U.S. is the ideal solution for your water woes. At Sylvie's Variety Store, we bring you the top line of automatic pressure tank pumps ideal for building offices and residential homes. Just turn on the faucet and pressure at your fingertips. The Wayne collection includes pool pumps, well pumps, and utility submersible pumps. Parts and accessories available. Sylvie's Variety Store, bringing you the quality you deserve every time.
Get the right seal right now from Industrial Supply of Guyana, Inc., your immediate SKF sealing solutions. The SKF Seal Jet Machine is capable of building seals from 5mm to 600mm in diameter in under 5 minutes. With technical support readily available, you can get a customized seal to suit virtually any industrial application, like buffer, rod, wiper, and piston seals. SKF Seal Jet Machine, now at Industrial Supply of Guyana, Inc.
Welcome back to this evening's Sportcast, sponsored by Maccorp. Rothman Powell's brilliant century ignited the Kensington Oval in Bridgetown, Barbados, and enabled West Indies to lead the 5-match Betway T20 International Series 2-1 after the